Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sasha and today we are going to be talking about an arc I read recently, and as I pull a hair off of myself, oh my god, sensory issues always come out right when I start videos. We're going to be talking about an arc that I was so grateful to get and to read. It was a new to me author. I knew I was pushing my own limits when it came to dark romance. I am a newer reader to this genre, and this was the darkest romance I've ever read. If that's something you're excited for, stick around. We will be talking about some very mature themes, so please only stay if you are 18 or 21 and up. Really, it's probably more 21 and up, and there's a lot of words I'm not going to be able to say here on YouTube. You'll have to go check out my written review on my blog, readwithmesashamarie.com. I was so happy to get Servitude to Serpents by Callie Moss as an e-arc, and I loved this book so much I had to get a physical copy of it. Before we get started, I also want to mention Callie Moss writes under Maggie Fern for paranormal dark romances. So if straight up sort of like mafia dark romance isn't your thing, if you're looking for the paranormal side, she does it all. She does that too. So you can go find that under Maggie Fern. I think this is the perfect book to read in the month of November. I know we're quickly heading into December, but the date, November 17th, is extremely important throughout this entire storyline. Our main female character has had a metric ton of trauma throughout her childhood, and as she's become an adult, she's turning 21, she is just trying to carve out a safe, normal little life for herself until she gets kidnapped on her birthday. Our FMC is brought into the very dark underbelly of society where people are sold, where they are forced to do things and trained to do things that I cannot talk about here. You really, I don't mean this as a joke, genuinely, you really need to check trigger warnings before starting this book. If you have zero trigger warnings, happy reading, okay? For most people, this book is going to have a lot of things that they potentially can't read about, and that is okay. You just need to know yourself, check the trigger warnings, and if it gets to be too much, you know what you can do? You can close the book, put it down, walk away. All right, go back to living your life. I was taking a risk when I requested this arc and read this arc because of the themes in this book. I genuinely wasn't sure if I was going to be able to handle them or not, and for whatever reason, it didn't push me away from it. If anything, it grounded me more into this character, and I related to so much of what she went through, but also none of what she went through, and it was an absolutely wild ride. This book is full of villains, okay? There aren't any good people to root for. They aren't morally gray, they are pitch black, okay? There aren't good people in this book. Even our main character, who you could say starts out as sort of neutral, she doesn't stay that way. The circumstances of her life sort of twist and turn and mold her into a new creature, a new thing, and that was one of the most interesting things about how this was written. It is in dual point of view, so we do get our female main character's point of view and the man who buys her point of view. And for both characters, what Callie Moss did in such a sort of enchanting way, it was amazing to read in this parallel. She would write what happened to her characters in their past, and what was happening in their present was almost a direct mirror of what had already happened to them, and it so effortlessly helped explain sort of how we got here and why they are handling things the way that they do. It was such a cool sort of psychological deep dive into how just nature and nurture and how past traumas can be repeated, and just it was wild to be reading about it and have it go so seamlessly back and forth from childhood to adulthood over and over and over, and we just got to learn so much more about these characters. Despite this being fictional, the one thing that rings true in every universe is that men are so dumb. So just know that there will be a moment in this book when you are just smacking yourself upside the head because our male main character makes some really dumb choices, okay? But hey, I guess that's why it like mirrors reality so well, because if he was just the perfect fictional character, he wouldn't have made those mistakes. But no, he's still a man, even though he's fictional, and he did some dumb shit, okay? But he does make up for it, and I will. What was that? Oh, something fell behind me. I thought I had a squirrel in the house. Okay, I will say this does have a happily ever after. But I don't know, it's just gonna depend on how well you handle the triggers, if you can actually consider this a happily ever after. I do. I think it ended beautifully. And I just can't wait to reread this because I was so into it. I was speed reading like a motherfucker, okay? I loved this book. Here's my recommendation, okay? If you've never read dark romance before, do not start here. This is not your jumping off point. If you are trying to get into like BDSM and Quink and like power dynamics, do not use this as a guide. This is not the way, okay? This is not safe. This is not the way you should practice that in real life if that's something you're interested in. However, if you're into really spicy, really dark, really dirty, wild, sad, heartbreaking, horrific dark romance, and you're experienced in the genre, and you have a good understanding of what's probably maybe going to happen to our FMC, then I think you should pick this up. Otherwise, this is not going to be the book for you, okay? I don't know how I survived it. I also have a metric ton of trauma, to be fair. So maybe that's why I was like, I understand her decisions. I understand how she survived this. That's my review. Like I said, please go check out my written review on my blog. I have my thoughts put together in much better ways over there when I write. So I hope I got you interested in maybe checking out this novel. Also, other books by this author and her secondary pen name. I'm gonna leave you there. This was so much fun. I hope you enjoy it. I think it still feels weird to say that I loved this and that I enjoyed it because of the content, all right? Big content trigger warnings. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!